Hey everybody, this video is going to be about limiting reagents and excess reagents or reactants. So reactants is the same as reagent. It's just a different word, means the same thing. So this is basically the last part of stoich. And in order to do stoichiometry, it has to be applicable to real life. And in real life, we can't just make random magical amounts of product. We need to know how much reactant we're starting with, and that's always going to make a certain amount of product. And what we start with limits how much we can end with. And that's kind of the big idea here is what's limiting how much product I can make and how do I know how much it's going to limit me by. So let's pretend that we're building a race car. So here in this picture, you can see all the parts that a race car is made of. These are like my reactants. I can put my reactants together to make a race car, which is my product. If I read this first question, it says how many parts are needed to construct one complete race car. So for my body, it's only one. Cylinders, I have three. Engines, I have one. And tires, I have four. So obviously, if I want to know how many of each part to complete three cars, I just multiply those by three. So I would need three bodies, I would need nine cylinders, I would need three engines, and I would need 12 tires. And that would give me three race cars. All right, so let's just say I had 12 tires, I had six cylinders, I had three engines, and I had two bodies. Now, if I look at just the tires, how many cars can I make? If I have 12 tires, well, 12 tires, and each car has four tires, then 12 divided by 4 equals three cars. Sweet, so I can make three cars, right? I need to look at my other reactants and figure out how much they can make and figure out what's limiting the amount of cars I can make. So if I have six cylinders, and one car requires three cylinders, then I can only make two cars. So if I'm in the shop, right, and I have 12 tires in front of me and I have six cylinders, can I make three cars? No, I can only make two cars because my cylinders are limiting how many cars I can make. I will not have any cylinders left over. They will be all used up. But my tires, I will have extra. How many extra tires? I have four extra tires. So even though my tires say that I can make three, in real life, I can only make two because that is the smaller amount of product and all of my cylinders get used up and I won't have any more cylinders even though I have extra tires. So in this case, I call my cylinders my limiting reactant because by definition, it limits how much product can form. When we do these calculations here, we kind of did a stoich calculation where we did 12 tires, one car equals four tires. We did the math. When we do the calculations, it's always whoever makes the lowest number. So the cylinders made two cars, so that's my lower number. That means the cylinders are my limiting reactant. So it's the reactant that makes the least amount of product. So again, it's the reactant that I start with that makes the lowest amount of product, limiting reactant. So if we have a limiting reactant, then, and it gets used up. Let me add that to our definition here. It gets completely used up. Meaning I have no more cylinders left over. I made as many cars as I could with those cylinders, and now I'm all out. I have no more cylinders, so it doesn't matter. I could have 1,000,000 tires, but if I don't have cylinders, I can't make a car. So if we have limiting reactant, then we also have an excess reactant. The excess reactant is going to make the higher amount of product. It's what's left over after the limiting reactant is used up. So it's basically the other reactant. There, quotes, the other reactant. So we have limiting reactant and excess reactant. Okay, so let's go back to our calculations here. So I said I had 12 tires and I had 6 cylinders. We decided that my 12 tires could make 3 cars. My 6 cylinders could only make 2 cars. My 6 cylinders, those are my limiting reactant. And so this, the 2 cars, what do you guys think that is called now? Think about it. That's my theoretical yield, right? Because the theoretical yield is the amount of product that you should make if the lab went perfectly. Now, let's say I open up my cylinders and 3 of them are all messed up. Well, then I can only make 1 car, and my percent, yield is going to be pretty awful. But it's just to bring back that vocabulary. So the theoretical yield is the answer that you get from the limiting reactant. So the reactant that makes the least amount of product that makes the theoretical yield. So what this means now is when we do a stoichiometry calculation, we're going to have to draw 2 charts, 1 chart, 2 charts, just like we did here. We're going to get 2 answers, but only one of them will be my theoretical yield. How do we know which one? It's the smaller number. The smaller number is my theoretical yield because it's who the limiting reactant makes. So this is just the intro, the vocab. I want you guys to work through this practice. It really does a really good job of going through sample calculations and kind of showing you how to work through this mentally. If you feel like you understand the vocabulary well enough and you understand what I did right here, then I would honestly just skip ahead and start with Model 3, question 11, because that's where we really start relating it to chemistry and molecules instead of car parts. So if you understand the definition of limiting reactant, excess reactant, and where the theoretical yield comes from, then go ahead and start with this page, Model 3. Check out the answer key once you have it done, and then watch the video where I do sample calculations, this crazy stuff. I'll show you guys where I got those answers in that video. All right, see you later.